All right, we are live. It's 9 o'clock. I've heard from Soundly and I've heard from George. George stepped in for a moment and then he went back outside for some reason to go measure something. But it's 9 o'clock, so I wanted to start the hangout. Good evening, everybody. Andrew Eddy, that's funny. No, really, he came in about 15 minutes ago because I opened the hangout and he said, I'll be right back. I got to go. Oh, I see. I'm one for stepping right in it. Yeah, he's out there measuring something. Hey, Garth, where is here? Where is good afternoon? All right, I'm calling Soundly. Come on, dude. New Zealand, okay.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic.
All right. Well, while these guys are standing me up, I guess I'll show you what I've been looking at lately. What we intend to do tonight is talk about what we want to do when we go meet George next week. We both fly on Friday, and that gives us Saturday and Sunday to get some work done. We've got some ideas on tap, so it'll be a matter of scheduling it and organizing it to make the most efficient use of our time out there. All right, so I will share my screen, waiting for these guys.
I'm with you, Nels.
Hey, George. Still
I'll
waiting?
be right with you. I need to get a drink.
All right, go right ahead. What are you having?
Dr. Pepper as usual.
Okay. So while I'm waiting for you, George, I'm just sharing my screen a little bit to... Hold on here. Hey. He's in the hangout. He's in the hangout. No, he went to go get a drink. But
I'm here.
Oh, all right, there's George.
Yeah.
Hello. Are you in this hangout, Sally?
I don't see him.
I think you're somewhere else. Well, I'm on my phone with you. Let me hang this up. He needs to come in here. Let me try sending him this again. Bear with us, folks. We'll we'll get this squared away here in just a minute. Let's see, what do I want to do? I thought I had this all ready to go. Oh, come on. Here we go.
I'm here.
Oh, good. Thanks for joining. All right, I'm going to unshare my screen because I really think it's going to be George. So I was just letting everyone know what we're doing tonight. We're just going to kind of probably look at George's screen. Maybe you might be sharing your screen too, Soundly, and I may as well. But primarily, it's going to be a conversation about what we want to plan on accomplishing next weekend.
Yes.
Which I'm really excited about it. There's nothing like this going on anywhere, I don't think. A nice big flat frozen lake. All the work that George has done so far to erect these targets, construct the targets using perspective so that all the targets appear to be the same size in the scope. Very cool approach. Very thoughtful.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I like the experiment because it'll both show the straight line and the curve in the same experiment.
Yep. And the intention here is, as he has been doing all by himself, is getting these targets aligned to the horizontal tangent using the level, and then just do a direct measurement down to the water. So that's one measurement set. And then the other is to just put all the targets at the same height above the water and then go look at them through the level. And I'm bringing the T2, so I hope to stand up the T2 at your beginning station there, George, and measure sets of zenith angles to all the targets. That's one thing I hope to do. I've got some other ideas. And then the whole snowmobile idea, running that snowmobile out till it disappears over the horizon, try to focus it back in with the P900, and then send up the drone. And are you still planning on bringing all that gear?
Yeah.
Good. So I'm also bringing a nice set of walkie-talkies that we could communicate with each other out at those distances, and some pretty good geodetic quality GNSS receivers. A pair of those that we could do some measuring with those. Hey George, that TopCon total station you have, what is that? Is that a 5-second instrument, a 1-second instrument? What's the accuracy on it? George?
It's not in here.
No way. Are we in different hangouts?
This is your live hangout, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. I think maybe George just called me on a separate hangout. I'm going to send him this link again. He should check his email. I'll try calling him on the phone. You just clicked on the link I sent you, right? That's how you got in.
Right, but normally if you do, I can't invite while I'm in here, but there's a little at the top there. There's an invite button, and you can invite him.
Yeah, let me do that. Try that way.
And I think that actually adds him to the hangout, and then
there he is. Invite. His phone goes to voicemail. Hey, you and me, we haven't talked in a while. I've been real busy. I guess you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy with work mostly.
Yeah. Me too.
Whenever work gets busy, I have to kind of put this on the side for a little
Yep.
bit.
Yeah.
I comment here and there, but haven't been able to really get too many videos out or anything.
Well, I'm glad you're making this trip. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I suggested to George that we that I ship the lamps up to him. I'm not sure if I can get it there quick enough, but I'm going to try.
Oh yeah, hang the lamps up on those targets.
Yeah.
To look at them at nighttime. Cool idea.
I was thinking that we could do the lamps at the same height above the surface, and then you should be able to see divergence, right, between the lamps and
That's right.
targets.
Yep.
So that's what I was considering doing, and then get the night shots, of course. And I'm not sure how far his laser is ranging right now, but I'd like to see some of those shots of him hitting those corner reflectors.
Okay, let me try another way to get to him.
I'm not sure if he can make it a full 6 miles with that laser or not, but if he can hit every corner reflector,
yeah,
then I can take a picture at each corner reflector, and then we can overlay them. Leave my camera at the same orientation and everything. Take like 6 different pictures, and then we should be able to merge them all together and show the locations of the reflectors.
In the chat, we have fans of lasers. Screw the theodolite. I heard. Did you listen to Sly today? Debating. Was that guy Riley?
Yeah, I turned it on for a few minutes, but I didn't have enough free time to listen to the whole thing. I'll probably try and listen to it once the kids go to bed.
I mean, it's hilarious how he's so dismissive of theodolites and measuring with theodolites, while quoting the elevations of these mountains in these pictures.
We're all measured with theodolites.
Yeah, it's like, how do you think we have the elevations of of these mountains? The
other thing is, I still don't get it. No one can give me a good explanation because it doesn't make any sense in reality. But how's a laser any different than a high powered flashlight? They're not at that distance. Once you get that far out, it diverges so much that it's basically just another light you're looking at, and it's going to be affected by the atmosphere just the same as the rest of the light.
I agree. In fact, George, in his last update video, goes through all of the geometry and the math, comparing lasers and the level instrument that he's using. And now I just shipped mine out to him, which is even an order magnitude better. And he makes the point that the level is going to give you far better information over these distances than a laser possibly could. You may see laser light, but
yeah, I think the laser actually in this particular experiment makes a lot of sense if you can hit those corner reflectors, because then you have a target that you can actually use your theodolite to measure, right?
Yeah.
So that actually makes a lot of sense to me. But it's the first time that I've seen a laser used in a way that actually makes sense. The rest of them, they just want to shoot a laser 7 miles and they don't think it's going to diverge or whatever, but it's ridiculous. So, yeah, again, just do what we did. Put some light lamps out there, find out where they're located.
I'm not sure why he's not in here, because I thought he was. All right, you just got that in this same hangout, correct?
Yeah.
That was just me resending the link. Not that won't work, will it? I should put it in here.
Yeah. Yours is better than mine. Mine's got all that extra Google redirect garbage in it. But
Oh,
I don't know,
okay.
maybe George's phone died or something. I don't know.
Well, no, about a quarter of, he came in just to say hey, and he went and got a drink of, he went outside. He said he wanted to make one last measurement. I think his level is set up at that stand near his house. I think he wanted to go do one last thing, and then he came in, said he was going to get a drink of Dr. Pepper, and now he's AOL. And I call his phone, it goes to voicemail, which he was surprised. I think it's not doing what he wants it to do right now. I've been looking at a lot of refraction stuff lately. I'll just share my screen. I had shared it, and then I took it back, but I'll share again. See if that's showing up. If I press the button that says present to everyone, does that stop the
Yeah, that just makes it so that whenever I talk, my stuff doesn't pop up.
Okay, cool. That's working. So I want to learn more about refraction.
Mm-hmm.
As a surveyor, we're aware what refraction is, but quite honestly, the way we measure lengths these days, 1,000 feet would be a long line. I hear George's. There's Con I hear in the background. In other words, we don't measure miles and miles and miles with a theodolite anymore. But so I want to really get well versed in the whole refraction thing, because that just seems to come up so often, and I think people on the flat Earth side are
using the misunderstanding of the layperson to their advantage.
Yeah, that, and I've got someone right now saying to me that objects in the distance drop down, and like, where are you getting that? I mean, I don't know if you can see all these books. All the way back in 1807, all these experiments to measure refraction. This stuff has been going on for hundreds of years. So, things don't drop down. I mean, light bends downward under certain conditions, but then under other conditions, it bends upward. As you've seen, you've got huge data sets showing that. And the thing about it, let's just say, if we look at refraction and we say, okay, what's the upper bound that it may bend upward, and that has been actually measured and recorded, and what's the lowest it goes, and what's that swath? What is that?
Yeah, that
entire magnitude that refraction does affect what you see in the distance, and use it. Use the most conservative. Use the worst case. That is not going to explain what we're seeing, especially across Lake Pontchartrain. The pictures I've taken of the Empire State Building, or Philadelphia from 32 miles away, refraction is not going to account for all of that.
Right.
So,
well, the thing that I point out is the simple fact that I can predict generally what I'm going to see in the observation based on, two temperatures basically, which is surface temperature and air temperature. If I know the surface temperature and I know the air temperature, I can give you a broad idea of what we're going to see. Either it's going to be some type of looming or towering or sinking, depending on the circumstances, or in ideal situations, you'll see, exactly what you expect to see on a globe. And that type of predictive power comes from the knowledge that scientists and us as humankind have gained over the centuries.
Yep.
And, none of that predictive power, there's no predictive power in flat Earth whatsoever. And, so they go about explaining away the observations they see with, hypotheticals and maybes, and it could be this, it could be that, but they don't know what they're looking at. And,
right.
And that's the thing that I think really, if anybody's honest with themselves as a flat earther, they have to say, well, we don't have any type of model that can predict what we should see on a given day. Why is that? And if they would be honest with themselves, they'd realize that there is a model that has predictive power, and that's the globe model, or WGS 84, or, mixed with refraction and human limitations of vision. And, you put all those sciences together, and it just makes sense.
Absolutely. And a guy like Walter Bislin, who has gone through the effort of literally producing all these animations and producing the side-by-side comparison of a flat Earth compared to the globe Earth, and it's utterly dismissed. And that's what I've finally figured out in the last week, is that as soon as you make any valid point, the tactic is don't say anything.
Right.
Say nothing.
Just ignore that they made that point and divert to some other nonsense.
Yeah. Then show a video of some bicyclists going into distortion caused by heat waves with a camera 2 inches above the pavement.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
Right.
Meanwhile, put a retro reflector on the guy's back and measure distances to him as he's riding away. Like, we could still measure angles to him. We can measure. That's George, are you in here yet?
I haven't seen him.
Man.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, me neither. Let's see what people might be saying in the chat. No, you're right, Nathan. He says, if anyone is doing this to convince flat earthers, then you're a fool. Do it for the fun and personal satisfaction. You're absolutely right. I mean, but you know what? Sometimes you just can't help mentioning the things you hear from flat earthers. And so we discuss among ourselves, but I gave that up a long time ago, thinking that something I was going to do would actually convince a flat earther. And I say this all the time. They've become flat earthers without evidence. So no evidence is going to convince them otherwise. So they're into that whole thing for other reasons. And
and me and Jesse have had a number of conversations where we started referring to ourselves as Earth Curve tourists. We're doing it because it's fun, because if there is one valid point, that is in schools there isn't a lot of practical application of mathematics and things that you can say, this is how you can see the curvature of the Earth. That doesn't happen very often in schools, at least the schools I attended. But they're so giving kids practical examples of the mathematics they're learning in school is, I think, very powerful for them, and certainly a way to prevent them from falling down this rabbit hole.
And so we are Earth curvature tourists, and also I don't know if you've heard me make mention of a fellow that I've met. We haven't met in person yet, but we've traded emails and we've talked on the phone quite a bit. And he's a geodetic surveyor that has been at it way longer than me, and he's done some really interesting work. We plan to get together at some point, but he calls it recreational surveying. And he's got some really good methods. I'm going to check out what he's doing, and hopefully he'll join me when I do want to measure the latitudes. Basically, I want to retrace what has been done in the past on the Mason-Dixon line, the border between Maryland and Delaware, and do some good old-fashioned astronomic observations for latitude. I think it's very cool to kind of keep your chops, or main sort of what you were just saying, Sally, but as it applies to surveying, like maintain a grip on things the way they were done in times of old, before GPS. So, but go ahead.
I was going to say, I along that vein of Earth curvature tourism,
Mhm.
I have kind of decided that over the course of 2018, I'll probably be converting over to more of a photography and video editing type channel.
Yeah.
And I'll still be making a lot of the observations I've already made. But after I did those elevator shots, I really think the only people that are left actually talking flat Earth are just the gurus that are making money off of it.
Yeah, like
And
FE Core and all these people.
yeah, and then the you know the exceptionally mixed up people that believe the gurus.
Mhm.
And as far as the work that I set out to do, which was to just provide observations that are intuitive and obvious to show the curvature of the Earth, I feel like I've done that.
Yeah.
And so going forward, it's just going to be about taking pictures of stuff that I like to take pictures of. It's not all going to be flat Earth based stuff. It's not all going to be telephotography. I'll probably do some wildlife photography, and I'll probably do some astrophotography and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
And so that's kind of where I'm going. So Nathan's right that we're not going to convince any of those guys.
Mhm.
And so I want to get more into a channel that's less in this fringe of craziness and more along mainstream like interest that people would actually be interested in, something about photography and stuff like that. And I recently started experimenting with some it's called focus stacking. That's where you take basically images that have different focal so whenever you do telephoto photography, right, you have a problem with depth of field a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with a telescope.
Right.
And so to see things up close in focus and things far away in focus all in the same frame, you have to do what's called focus stacking. So I started experimenting with focus stacking. And I did one recently of the, I'm sure you remember this shot of, I took a picture underneath the southbound lane where I was underneath the lane and you could actually see like the lane curving over the horizon.
Yes.
And so what I did was I took a picture of that scene at where I had different portions of the image in focus. And then I stacked those images together. I basically didn't move the camera. I just took a picture, changed focus, took a picture all the way back.
Oh, okay.
And then I stacked all those pictures together to come out with one image that's completely in focus. And that was really, really kind of cool.
Did you put that in a video, or is this something you've just been playing with?
Oh yeah, it's just recent.
Yeah.
Let me find the picture and I'll.
Speaking of pictures, do you see what I'm showing on the screen here?
Yes.
I mean, it's just hilarious. It's like, okay, this is anything but showing curvature of the Earth. This, let's just, the extent they go to just saying this is anything but showing the drop of the curve from the horizontal tangent plane.
Right. Even though it's exactly what we expect to see.
It's exactly what, and then, like you were saying before, they don't have a model anyway, but I mean, can they even accept that this is their flat Earth model? I mean, how hard is it to visualize a flat Earth? Okay. And what things would look like on that flat Earth? How hard can that be? And the fact is that I've said this a lot. I mean, just if you go to the top of this building, you should be able to see for many hundreds of miles. Then they claim, well, that you're just being ignorant because, of course, the air is polluted. So there's always a reason.
Dirty air, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's
the
vanishing point and things like that.
Yeah, it is kind of ridiculous that they say dirty air or whatever they want to call it.
But again, it's just like here's another picture. It's like, George, are you in?
I believe so. Is my audio okay?
Yeah, hear you good. Do you hear him soundly?
Yeah, I hear him.
Yeah, we've been filling time. Did you go down? Did you go down to the local store to go get that Dr. Pepper?
Of all the crazy things to happen, Microsoft decided to update my system, and it took the whole system
course.
down on me right as I was
Wonderful.
coming back.
Yeah.
That's the last thing we would have thought was going on, but that's perfect. Yeah.
Of course, that would happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, my Microsoft felt it was essential that I have this update right now.
All right. Well, then you are all updated. Did you want to? I'm just kind of killing time, just sharing my screen, but I'm happy to turn it over to you if you want to discuss anything that you've been doing this week, and then also, maybe we could start.
I have several updates to post. I'm going to get one posted at least today, and probably another one maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm a little bit behind on getting everything edited. Been doing quite a bit this last week. As of today, I have all the marker poles and all the targets set up. I expanded the project, became a little more ambitious after some of my conversation, email exchange with Jaron. Apparently, he's not going to make it up here, but he apparently didn't fully comprehend all of my video on the overview of what I was doing, because he was suggesting that he'd like to see a Bedford level type experiment, and that was one of the tests that I was going to do on my marker poles. Is have two sets of targets. One set of targets would be all lined up with a tangent to the Earth, with a tangent established at the point of observation. And then a lower set of targets that were all going to be spaced the same height above the surface of the water. And the height I chose for that is 73 inches. So I have two sets of targets. And as of this morning, I got the lower set of targets all placed out to 4 miles. I'm not going to go out to the full 6 miles on the lower set of targets at 73 inches, but I added 3 intermediate marker poles for the Bedford level type experiment. For the lower targets, I have one at 0.7 miles, 1.36 miles, 2 miles, 2.72 miles, 3.4 miles, and 4 miles.
Do you want to show any of this?
I just took some videos. I have some raw footage that
Or
I haven't.
even in Google Earth or something.
Hang on a second here. Let me.
I'm going to give up my screen to you. And what you're describing is way more than I thought you were going to be doing. It sounds
Well,
awesome.
me too. I mean,
it's way awesome.
Like I say, I ended up getting a little more ambitious. This is the last bite at the apple. I'm not going to be doing this anymore because it's way too much work and over and above what I've normally tried to do. But so anyone out there that wants to see these sorts of things, we probably have 2 good weeks left in which I can keep the targets out on the ice. I'm already starting to have problems. The poles are heating up during the day from the sun, and there was a wind out there, and it was driving me crazy. It was spinning the targets around. I've got to do something different for keeping the poles from rotating in the ice.
Mm-hmm.
The poles heat up, and then they loosen up in the ice, and you get a wind, and the targets act like a weather vane, and the targets spin around.
Yeah. What do you think of? I think we got.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a L bracket and attach it to the pipe down at the base. And then on the part that sticks out, I'm just going to freeze that into a snowbank, and then that way the pole won't rotate on me.
Sounds good.
So anyway, I also went and did a little exploring back on what's Tilson Bay, which is the west end of that long 20-mile corridor I was telling you about.
Yeah.
I climbed up on the shore on the hills there, and I found that there is a house that will be able to use a deck. And just eyeballing it, looks like the deck's about maybe 50 feet up off the ice, and you get a really good view. I took some video on that. I can bring that up and show you. It's really pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Please do.
Let's see here. I have to. So how are you doing, Sonley?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, George. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's been tiring. Gosh, I've been out on the ice every day since last Saturday, and it's starting to get to me a bit.
Yeah.
Being cold and wet.
Well, that's why we're coming up to record and memorialize the work you're putting in. It just needs to be done. There you are, one guy up there. Meanwhile, in Hungary, they can't measure anything.
Yeah, how's that turned out? I haven't heard any updates on that. I heard something. I was watching a channel last night by this Flat Earth Reset.
Yes.
He's hilarious, and he was really giving it to him.
I know. I was playing his, I guess he's up to part 2 or 3, and sometimes I'm on a long drive and I'll just play these YouTube things and listen, and he was really giving it to him. You're right.
Wait, what happened now?
Well,
go ahead.
Did I
hear it right that they destroyed their big laser?
Well, that's what this guy says. I don't know.
Yeah.
But basically, this guy, Flat Earth Reset, is his channel, and he's paying close attention to Flat Earth or FE Core. And just everything they post, like they say they set a world record. He says it's not a world record. It was possibly a record in Hungary, but
right.
Well, I mean, these guys more than stretch the truth. They like boasting. They're kind of like our president.
But they just go on and on about the harsh conditions they're under and how hard it is to do all this, and it's just, big deal, man. You're out there, it's cold. You want to hear about harsh conditions? Read some of these survey reports from India, or the book I refer a lot of people to, the history of measuring the Earth through arc measurements. They went out in like sub 30 degrees, temperatures to just measure the distances on ice. It's very harsh conditions. So, that's what it takes. It's just kind of a lot.
Yeah, it was a piece of cake what those guys had. Over there in Hungary, they have no idea what harsh conditions are.
No. And the lake didn't even freeze, so how cold can it be?
Yeah.
Soundly, do you have the right clothing to go up to Minnesota?
Yeah.
I've been worried about you.
No, I have stuff.
It's not going to be that bad. Our afternoons now are getting up into the 40s.
It gets cold here, but it's not near as cold as it is there, obviously. But it gets as cold as it is now there. So, I have clothing. I'll be fine.
We'll keep Sonley warm. We can always get a propane What am I trying to say? I've drawn a blank here. There's an attachment you can put on a portable propane tank and get a portable heater that way.
We won't need none of that. We'll be dressed for it. And
I was trying to let George introduce himself since he just got here, but that picture I was talking about.
oh, you want to get on?
Well, I just sent it in the hangout, and either one of you guys can share it. It's fine, but this is the type of stuff I'm talking about doing. It's
Oh yeah, I thought that's what you were talking about.
yeah, so stuff like that. You know, just learning more about photography as an amateur and trying to do cool things like that. So yeah, I basically took 7 different images and stacked them together to come up with this image, and they're basically all images taken of the same exact scene with the camera in the same exact position. All I did was change the focus on each image.
That's wild. Do you want to, George? Are you about ready to share your screen to show something?
Yeah, I can do that.
But we should show that afterwards, Sally. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
It's a very interesting. You know, you could tell it's not just one single photo. It's really artistic.
That's kind of where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to, build my art. I mean, it is an art form that I'm doing, and I'm just trying to build upon it, get better at it.
I think you're going to catch some pretty cool sunsets up on Rainy Lake.
Possible.
Next weekend.
I hope we have some good viewing while you guys are here. I can, okay, I'll do a share now.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye on chat while this is going on too.
You tell me when my screen is up.
Oh, Flat Out said he wants to see the image. We'll show the image later, I guess. We're going to let George do his thing first. Flat Out.
Is my screen coming through yet?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, present him.
Jesse. Oh, do I do it?
Yeah, you have control, so you got to present him. There we go.
All right.
You got me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. This is the view looking down that corridor just to the right of this island here. That's 20 miles out. And I went up on the deck of this house. You see my snowmobile there. Hilson Bay.
Oh, here's somebody. Somebody's got the video.
That's me talking here. I'll kill the audio here.
Jesse, you still haven't presented him. You have to click the, if you hover over his name, there's a little down arrow in the top right.
Okay.
You click that, and then it says present to everyone.
Off the ice. So
I just did that.
So this is where you can do that over the horizon type test.
Okay. So we would run that snowmobile out in that direction.
But that shoreline out there is about 20 miles away.
That's an interesting observation right there by itself.
Yeah. So I'm bringing some good walkie-talkies that we'll be able to talk to each other pretty far out there, especially across that ice like that. And we can measure the distances the whole way.
Did you contact him?
I can bring up on the I have some still photos, of course, that have much better resolution. I'll bring those up real quick here for you.
George, I have a question for you. Where you set the level up on that stand, is that up underneath of trees? or is it exposed? Does it have a good view of the sky?
Yeah. Forever to load.
So that shoreline is 20 miles away, George. Is that something that one of us could drive to and actually actually try and see?
Now this is with me 6 feet off the ice, looking out down that corridor, zoomed in.
Right.
Still off. You can see the difference when I get up high.
So you're up higher at this point from where you're showing this video?
So this is with me 6 feet up off the ice. Okay.
Okay.
See, you can barely see the shoreline when we're right down by the ice. Oops.
And that's the top of those trees that we're seeing, right?
I don't want that.
Hey, George, can you still hear us? There's Con.
Okay, here I'm up on the deck. Down here is the snowmobile on the ice, and this is looking down that 20-mile corridor. And then I'm going to start zooming in.
George, you can hear us right now?
So you can, see the hills and stuff back there 20 miles away.
George, testing. Can you hear us?
It's kind of fuzzy.
I don't think George can hear us.
I don't think you can. Hey, George.
And I'm still up on the deck here.
You know what he did? He killed his volume.
Zoomed out, zoom back in. Now notice this island out here when we're high up off the ice, about 50 feet up off the ice. Now when I go back down, now I'm down on the ice. You don't see the rocky shore there. See, if we go back, here I'm up off the ice about 50 feet. You can see kind of the rock outcropping here. Now when I go down to where I'm 6 feet off the ice, you don't get a very good view of that, and you don't see the hills in the background very well either. That's 50 feet up off the ice. This is 6 feet up off the ice. Now notice
Oh, we lost
hills in here. That's disappearing.
Hey, can you hear us?
So this will be where you can do your over the horizon test, is through this corridor here that goes out 20 miles. When I'm down 6 feet off the ice, you don't see much in the background, but now when I come up here 50 feet, now this stuff starts appearing. So we have a good straight shot going out 20 miles from this spot.
I love it. I think George can't hear us because he killed his
Kind of what
volume,
I've
because the
got
video he's showing
planned
us
for you there.
had
So I'll
had
only do your
talking.
Hello?
George?
George, can you hear us now?
I got you now.
George, I think did you kill your volume?
Yeah, I did.
Just turn the. So basically, we're hearing echo coming back from this hangout. Is this what's happening?
Yeah. And when he was playing that video, he
When I
was.
forgot that I knocked you guys out too.
Yeah. Well, that'll be a great test. I think, George, you must be showing the hangout somewhere in YouTube, and you could kill the volume on that, because I could hear me coming back. You still there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I killed my speakers so that I didn't have interference with the audio.
All right, good. So this will be a really good test. I was saying before when you couldn't hear me, I was saying I've got some good walkie-talkies that will be able to communicate all the way out as far as we want to go.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I have a couple too. I wonder if are these like those Midlands or that they have that's up around 160 some megahertz.
I'm not sure.
We'll bring them.
I think they're
in case the lines
Motorola's.
go out that far.
Yeah, they're nice. They'll get us the range we need, and then also have the GPS that we can use to actually measure the distance out, and we'll have good locations to the like couple inches level.
Yeah, because out here we will not be able to use cell phone service. There are no cell towers out there.
Yeah, good.
Is there a way to get out there at all, like with a vehicle, or not?
Just over the ice.
The snowmobile.
Only over the ice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think by next weekend we will be able to travel by vehicle on the ice. The snow is settling, and probably by next weekend, most of the snow ought to be burnt off the ice, so we'll be able to travel anywhere we want.
I was also wondering if you were able to hit some of the far targets with your laser with one of those corner reflectors.
Well, that's one of the things I'd like to try is go beyond the 6 miles, see how far we can go. I have 6 corner reflectors on order, but they haven't arrived yet. If Jesse has some corner reflectors that he could pack up, that just so we have a backup, that would be nice.
Oh yeah, George, I'll bring a handful of those.
Yeah, because if we make an array, mount them on a say a sheet of plywood or something, and bring it way out there, it'd be kind of interesting to see how far out we can go with my laser and get reflected back.
I had asked you earlier, but I don't think you were in yet. But the TopCon total station that you have, what angular accuracy is that instrument?
4 arc seconds.
4? That's not too shabby. Yeah, man. I don't know if I should bring my T2.
You said 1 arc second with the T2?
It's 1 arc second direct reading. The DIN spec on it when you wrap several sets is on the order of 3 arc seconds is the result. But
I'd rather you bring corner reflectors and other stuff if it's going to be too much to.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to have her with me, but I'm interested to. Well, I've got time. I'll be packing up this week equipment, but I'll definitely bring a handful of corner reflectors. I could probably bring like 3 of them.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask is, do you think? Well, let me just ask you this first, George. Do you think that your laser will be able to hit a corner reflector at 6 miles?
I think he's already done that.
George? Well, I don't hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. If he can hit, if he can hit the corner reflector at 6 miles away, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then definitely I'd be able to take a picture at each spot, without moving my camera and stack those on top of each other.
Yeah.
And that would give us, the shape of those corner reflectors. I'm not sure what he was thinking, if he was thinking about putting them up where his targets are, or if he was thinking about keeping those all at the same height. I'm not sure.
Well, what I've seen him do in the update videos along the way here is he just kind of puts it up near the target, just so that he can reach out to it, and he's done it, after the sun has gone down. He's fired his laser out at those, and I think he's reached out to the 6 miler.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be a great shot.
What the heck is happening? I'm kind of coming in and out. I don't know what's going on here. Do you have me?
We do now.
Wow.
Hold on.
Tell you what, why don't you give up the screen, and Soundly has a picture that
Yeah,
I think we should all
go
look
ahead.
at. It's pretty cool.
I'll,
Soundly, I've presented you to everyone.
One second.
Okay.
Okay. Later. Yeah, I had my brother was picking up his kid. So, yeah, so let me share this picture. Let me get it up first. Let's see here. Best spot is. Didn't I put it on the desktop? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Let me open that up. And okay. Let me share this now. There we go. All right, you guys see it? Jesse?
Not yet. I'm actually looking at the broadcast. So let me go back and make sure that I've set you as the presenter.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, so this
that's pretty
You
real
are the
looking.
presenter.
Yeah, so this is like 7 different pictures stacked on top of each other. You can kind of see some focus artifact. Like right here, you can kind of see it's a little blurry still. That scene didn't match up exactly perfect, but basically these are 3 different or 7 different pictures that were all taken with different focus depths. So
Hang on a second. I'm looking at the live. Okay, there it is. It was delayed. All right,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, so you can, I mean, this is underneath the southbound lane from the south shore of the causeway. And the southbound lane is, perfectly straight. Colloquially, it follows a great circle. So it's all the entire bridge of the southbound lane is essentially in the same great circle or the same plane. And so if you're looking edge on from the top of the bridge, it's all in a straight line. And you can clearly see that it curves over the horizon right here. And, like I said, this is like 7 different pictures that were all taken at different focus depths and stacked on top of each other so that the entire picture would be in focus. And it turned out really good. I was happy with it. I was very happy with how it turned out. It might could be a little bit better, but for the most part, it's pretty good.
What kind of increments do you zoom out and stop and take another picture? Like how frequently do you do that?
I just eyeballed it. Basically I focused on the end.
Okay.
Then I backed it out enough to where just the edge of what was out of focus is in focus. Took another picture, backed it out again. And I have a remote shutter, and I also have my camera has this silent mode to where there's like 0 movement, no shutter, whatever. It's a mirrorless camera, so there's no movement in the camera itself. It provides in typical situations, it provides like some synaptic feedback. It provides is that the right word? It provides feedback where you can actually feel like a little bit of vibration in the camera as it takes a picture typically, but you can put it in silent mode, and whenever you do that, it has 0 movement in the camera itself. So all I had to do is just very gently change the focus, and this is what you end up with. You end up with a bunch of pictures that are have different focus depths, and then you stack those on top of each other, and you get an image that the entire image is in focus. Turned out great, man. Yeah,
I like it. I think in the chat people are going, it looks flat to me, and they're arguing about flat Earth, and I'm smiling, thinking as you start to just go off doing the enjoyable photography you want to just go do wherever it is, there's always going to be someone saying, where's the curve, man? It's just,
well, I mean, it's
just
kind
hilarious.
of ridiculous to say it's flat. I mean, obviously, this is not a straight line, you know.
I know.
So
I know. It's just.
they
It's like no
things
matter
like that.
what now. No matter what,
You could
they
show them a
just.
picture. You could show them a picture of my lawn and they would say the grass isn't green. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but once I get you out on the bay, 4 or 5 miles out, you're going to look around and it's going to look flat as a pancake.
Yep.
You'll swear there's no curvature anywhere. You can't see any curvature when you're out on the lake. You have to measure it.
Right.
Well, that just gives
We'll
you.
be able to see with that drone. We definitely will be able to see, like what you're talking about with the 20 mile.
Yeah.
The shoreline is 20 miles away with some hills. Once we get that drone up in the air and we go up to 400 feet and come back down to 0 feet, you know, it'll be, or 1 foot or whatever it is off the ground. It'll be obvious, you know.
You know what would be, Stanley, here's one idea I had was, so if we can put the P900 at 6 feet above the ice, or you know, at our standing height, let's say, to catch the snowmobile as it goes over the horizon and disappears. You're going to zoom in and try to find it. It's not going to be there.
Right.
So you send the drone up just slightly to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is again. And you know we'll be able to record what height you just went up slightly to see the snowmobile again. And then we continue going out until it disappears from the drone.
Right.
And then send it up a little bit.
Right.
Boom, there it is again. And we'll be able to record those distances the whole way.
Right.
You see. So it might be an interesting thing to try to pull off on one of the days.
George, you had mentioned putting a piece of plywood out there with like painted orange or something, right?
Sure. I mean, we could mount a target to the snowmobile or some pipes or, you know, something to think about what you might want in the way of a target besides looking at the back end of the snowmobile. A snowmobile isn't very wide, you know, at most you're looking at 3 feet. On a wide track snowmobile, most snowmobiles are going to be about, you know, 2.5 foot wide.
I think in that sea of white that you have there, if we had something orange, it would just stand out like a sore thumb, you know.
What
Right.
about
Yeah,
what about putting a corner reflector on the back and just firing the laser at it? Get a laser return.
Yeah, we could do that too.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I mean, I think we're going to get that sucker out there pretty far. You know, let's see, we are near an airport, right? So we can't do what Sean Hufford's been doing. He's been sending his drone up to what, 1,600 feet or something, 1,400 feet.
How close are we to an airport there, George?
Well, we can talk to the people at the airport and alert them. We'd need to also alert Border Patrol because, you know, Homeland Security has a big facility up here patrolling the border, make sure the Canadians don't sneak over.
Oh yeah, when's Canada building their wall, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking that if it's outside of 5 miles, I think you don't have to alert the airport.
I'll clear it with the people at the airport anyway. I mean, there's a lot of small private planes on skis, you know, flying in and out of the lake. It's something that we should just make people aware of.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't want to go over 400 feet. I'll tell you that just because all the literature that I've read says 400 feet. Now Sean says that you're able to fly higher in rural areas, which certainly out in the middle of the lake would be considered a rural area. But
yeah, I'm at least let me figure here. I'm probably 12 miles from the airport.
Yeah, I think we won't have any problems then.
And we're out of the main air corridor. Most of the commercial jet flight paths are all south of the airport, you know, heading towards Minneapolis. There's only one plane that comes in from Thunder Bay, Ontario, but that's generally at about 9 p.m. So during the day, the only air traffic you're going to find over the lake are like sports fishermen and going up with private planes,
Right.
Cessnas and that on skis.
Right. I think 400 feet would be plenty, though. I mean, I was able to see most of New Orleans from 400 feet. So that's 20. That was about 24, 25, 26 miles away, depending on what target you're looking at.
Yeah,
That'll be really nice. Yeah, I think you'll like the view.
Oh, absolutely.
With all the islands, this lake has thousands of islands in it. It's very picturesque.
I did end up ordering another battery.
Okay.
I'm hoping that will come in before I have to leave. That's the only.
Yeah, I saw that there was one on sale there for what, about $150 or something like that.
Where'd you see that one?
That was on that link that you gave me.
Oh, that was 250, 248.
No, but they had a special price on it yesterday.
Well,
They crossed out the
missed that
250.
then. I missed that price then. If I'd have saw one for 150, I'd have jumped on it. I missed
Yeah,
that.
you might
price
check
for
that link
250.
again.
Yeah, it should.
Hey, George, I had a question for you. The where you set the level up, is that under trees or is it?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Why? What
Or
do you need?
are they pine trees?
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting a GPS base station there to broadcast corrections out over the lake.
Oh, that's not a problem.
Well, but if it's obstructed,
but it's not obstructed looking towards the targets.
No, I mean for
Towards the
GPS.
south. Has to be
For
unobstructed
GPS.
towards the south.
Well, I'm getting good GPS signals there.
Yeah, not these ones.
Oh,
You're
okay.
measuring code phase for positioning, like at the
Okay.
meterage level.
Well, we can just move a little bit out onto the ice.
Yeah, I'll just set it. I'll set it out a little bit, but we can definitely locate it in reference to your mount point there.
Yeah.
What do you call that? You call that your base point or your?
Well, I have an observation point and my reference pole. There's a reference pole out on the lake.
Okay.
Out on the ice, about 100 feet away, that I use for getting the height of the water above my tangent point.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just set the base station out away from the trees, and that's what we can use. We can get positions on all your targets. I mean, to the nearest couple inches.
Now I have a very important question to ask, George. Have you filed for your Flat Earth Core grant yet?
Well, I contributed to them when they first started up. I sent them via PayPal a penny.
I figured they would just be pouring all kinds of money into what you're doing right now, considering it's going to prove flat Earth, right?
Well, they haven't contacted me.
That's too bad. I guess they've learned from the Hungarian experiment.
Yeah, I think that laser would do a lot better over here on Rainy Lake. You would do more. You would be able to do what they were trying to do.
Yeah, let me screen share again. I'll show you
Okay.
my latest pictures today on the targets.
Oh, by the way, George, did I misinterpret? Have you measured with your green laser out to the 6 miles?
Yes.
You did. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought I saw you doing that.
I'll show you that.
Someone in the chat.
So you were able to hit that corner reflector 6 miles away?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
Wow,
someone in the chat thought
fantastic.
maybe I had that wrong, but I wanted to ask you about that. So thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Right.
Show me, and then I'll show you a little video on it.
Yeah, you're.
That I did last night.
It's all yours.
Okay. What the heck's going on with this? Okay, this is the first target at 0.7 miles. Now you'll notice that some of the targets are different so that they're easier to differentiate when looking at all the targets simultaneously. So this is one I put up yesterday. This is at 73 inches above the water. This is for the first target in the Bedford level type experiment test. Is this coming through okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the one, or the 0.7 mile target.
It hasn't made it to the live show yet out on YouTube. That means there's an enormous delay, I guess.
Yeah, but they're hearing the
About 20
audio at the same
seconds, I
time.
think.
That's cool.
Okay, so this is the 0.7 mile target. The gap between the two horizontal lines is about 3/4 of an inch. So that back at the observation, you can see that gap. It ends up being about 6 arc seconds in width.
Wow, that much?
Okay, this is the target out at 1.36 miles. Now, this upper target is the one that's aligned to be in line with the tangent back at the observation.
Yes.
And then the lower target here is at 73 inches above the water.
Nice.
And this is the 2-mile target. Again, we have an upper target that's in line, or no, this is the same one. I'm sorry, just different view, same one. Here's the 2-mile target. This is just the lower target that's at 73 inches above the ice. I put a bunch of orange tape on here so know that it's the 2-mile target. And if you see over here, there's this channel marker. This is Franzen Island. I have a target right over in here that's at 2.72 miles. Every other target is just a lower target at 73 inches for this Bedford level type experiment. And now at the Franzen Island, see, I have the 2 targets. This one's in line with the tangent. And then this one again is at that fixed height of 73 inches above the ice. Then at 3.4 miles, I have just a target at 73 inches above the ice. And then at 4 miles, this target here is in line with the tangent. And then this one is at 73 inches in the center above the ice.
Brilliant.
That is so cool. It's just amazing.
This one's like a wet noodle. I mean, this is over 20 feet up over the ice to be in line with the tangent.
Wow.
It's about 24 feet. I had to add a 18-foot 2x4 to my 10-foot sewer pipe. And I had trouble. It's a good thing I went out and checked today. Some of my guy lines had snapped. The heavy winds, and I've got to go out and guy this down better. Because if my guy lines snap again and we get a good wind, this thing is just going to snap.
That's the 4 mile. That's at 4 miles.
This is at 4 miles. Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
I can't even imagine what 5 miles looks like then. Did you do the same thing?
I don't have anything at 5 miles. I have one at my last target is at 6 miles.
Gotcha. That's the one that's up in the tree?
Yes. And that's going to be updated here later this evening, showing me adjusting the height and getting it fixed in the, let me see, where is that?
This has really turned into an epic.
Hasn't it?
Yeah. It's amazing, George, what you've done.
It really
the
is.
work you've put in.
It really is.
I wish we could get little things to inspire you to freeze.
Okay, here's the target at 6 miles on Home Island.
Okay.
This is, I had it suspended between these two trees, suspended from a rope, just to give me, to see initially how it would be viewed back 6 miles at the observation. And then later on, I actually put it up in this tree to get it to the proper height for the tangent.
George, how the heck did you get up in that tree?
Well, you'll see in the video update. I had to climb the tree.
And listen, every chance I
There
get,
it is in the tree.
I want people
Wow.
to know what you've done here, George, that you've cut these targets to size so that they would appear similarly sized through the telescope, right? And so you've used all the proportions based on
Yeah, they're
perspective,
pretty close. It's not exact, but they're
yeah.
proportions so that when you view them, they all look about the same size as you go out.
Yeah. Again, I just
further
like to point out that it's a very unique approach, real thoughtful.
Now, what you see here is here's the final placement of the target in the tree, and here's my corner reflector, and this is what that corner reflector is still there. It's considerably below the target. It's about 6 feet above the rocks here, which is again about 15 feet off the ice. So we're looking at this point is about 20 feet above the ice. Right here is where I have the corner reflector that I'm shooting the laser at, and that corner reflector is 2.5 inches in diameter. It's about the size of a baseball.
Wow.
Okay, that's looking through the auto level before I got everything placed. Let's see now.
I'll mention again for people interested, look at George's last update where he goes through all the math involving the comparison of using lasers with the leveling instrument, and you'll see that the leveling instrument is going to give you much more accurate results to do these types of measurements.
I haven't.
George, you're getting a lot of kudos in the chat. Just people are loving seeing what you've done here. Just you're getting the nice work, George, all over the place. So
Yeah, I don't have any of that right now. Let's see here. I'm trying to find. I haven't ever. I just loaded up all this video and I haven't organized it yet. So just give me a sec here. I've got to remember where I put the laser measurement. Oh gosh. You guys go ahead and talk while I try to find it.
okay, no problem.
Well, I was just saying, George, earlier that you and Curved Water and some of the other guys, Jesse as well, have just kind of convinced me that at this point we've done enough work as far as this whole flat Earth nonsense goes, and I'm going to be slowly converting my channel over to focus more on just photography in general, and I'll definitely be doing the same type of long distance observations just because I find them very enjoyable myself. And there's a certain amount of eureka moment that you experience when you first see it, yourself.
Like looking out the 15th floor.
Yeah, that was a great video, Jesse. You should let me show people that.
Oh, maybe sometime, maybe at some point.
Yeah, I have a video of Jesse seeing it for the first time. It was enjoyable.
It was hilarious.
So yeah, I'll definitely still keep participating in our our peer group, so to speak, and I'll still be around doing this type of stuff. But I I'll probably just avoid putting flat Earth in my titles and all that anymore. I'm definitely going to branch off into more of the photography that I'm interested in. Like I really like nature and nature photography. We have a lot of amazing wildlife around here that I did a couple of videos of. Back I don't know before Jesse came out really, and probably start doing some more stuff like that. Start doing some more astrophotography and things that I find interesting that are outside of this flat Earth stuff.
I'm the same way, Sally. I'm kind of just gonna be. This is a flat Earth, or I mean, this is a what do we call it? Curvature, Earth curvature tourism. That's this trip, and just to see the remarkable work that George is doing here, and participate at some level. Doing
Exactly.
some measuring here, and then I've got a lot of other things I want to start doing, and literally just retracing, surveying from the historical point of view of what's been done before, and I've got a huge playground to play in and do it as time permits, and I think for you as you start to do the type of photography you're talking about, and you start putting things out there. It depends on, if it's just nature itself. I mean, that's one thing. But if you do get some long range, interesting views, um, I think it's still going to draw the attention.
Yeah. So, maybe early 2019, I was considering me and my wife taking a vacation trip to Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was going to go up there and take a day and take some photographs. And it just depends on. I don't know if I'll make it to Michigan or not, but maybe I will. I'd like to go there just for the sake of taking the pictures because they're cool pictures, right? I mean, what's his name? Josh
Nowicki.
Newicki, yeah. Josh Newicki's pictures are just awesome, right? They're just awesome to look at for their own sake. He doesn't care about his flat Earth nonsense. But he takes amazing pictures. And I'd really like to do stuff like that because I have the equipment to do it, and I find it very interesting. And also, another thing that I'd like to do that I kind of have planned for 2018, and hopefully for winter 2018, it depends on what the summer looks like. Sometimes there are summer days when we have a nice little thunderstorm roll through and clear all the air out, and things look cool and nice around here.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can actually get some pretty decent seeing conditions. And so I'm thinking about doing ships over the horizon on the Mississippi River. I've tried to go there before and take photographs of ships over the horizon, but it's very hard to get an angle where you don't have a barge parked on the side that's in your way.
Okay.
And the piers that do go out there are all private piers, and they have high security, and it's very hard to actually get access to some of these locations on the Mississippi River, just because it's a major port, and the Homeland Security doesn't like certain things happening.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things is that I was planning on taking the drone, right, and the new drone with the telephoto on it, and actually putting it out over the water and doing some elevator shots with the drone from ships over the horizon.
Oh, that would be good.
And so we had these big tankers, right? These big oil tankers that come through Baton Rouge. And so that would be, we have these tankers and we have barges, these big barges that transport like just large amounts of coal and sand and gravel and these types of things. But they're huge. The barges are just massive. And so being able to actually capture one of those going over the horizon. And the cool thing about the drone is that even though I only have like about 20 minutes max of flight time with that big drone, it's usually more like 15, but because I can go up and down, really quickly, basically, I can do the ships over the horizon without having to wait for the ship to actually drive over the horizon. I just have to lower my altitude. So, yeah, I'm definitely thinking about doing that for 2018.
Now, would you do that simultaneously with the P900 set up at your observer level watching the thing go over and then catch it with the drone? Is that what you're going to do in combination?
Yeah, I want to do the drone with the actually putting the drone out over the water of the lake of the river, and then going up and down with it. And then separately, I want to do the P900. Now, with the P900 and my telescope, I'm able to see a really long stretch of the Mississippi River from LSU to Southern University. And Southern University has these really awesome bluffs that are like, 20, 30 feet above the river.
Hold that thought, Soundly. I want to interrupt you real quick. I've always wondered how Khan is transported, and what we're seeing is Khan on the snowmobile. I'm loving it.
Yeah, he loves riding on the snowmobile.
That is so good.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be able to meet Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, people think it's so funny when they see me on the ice with Con. They don't see me. It looks like Con's driving.
While you were talking, Soundly, I just glanced at the screen and noticed, there's Con.
This is home island at the 6 mile target before I mounted it.
Okay.
But you'll see here coming up. This is part of the update number 4 that I'm going to be updating later this evening.
Okay, cool. So we're getting a little preview.
Con's like, can we do that again?
Yeah.
But here's a path I've made to get up on the island, and you'll see here shortly where a friend of mine joined me to help me out here, get the target mounted. That would have been impossible by myself.
I guess a lot of the neighbors around the area are watching what you're up to. What do they think of this?
There are no neighbors.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking. We're in wilderness here, guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is pristine wilderness. The only neighbors watching us are raccoons and otters.
Awesome. Sally and I get in pretty near in time next Friday, and I guess you're going to be picking us up?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you have to both be arriving at the same time. You're going to be on the same commuter flight.
Oh, okay.
Out of Minneapolis.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah, you'll both be traveling together about an hour and a half out of Minneapolis up to International Falls on the same flight.
Oh, cool. I haven't really looked at my itinerary too closely yet.
So this is where I initially had the target placed. Now what I'm doing is I'm measuring the height of the water level above the water level, a reference point back on the island, so that I can know exactly how high the target is above the water. And I'm using the TopCon with a corner reflector you'll see coming up here mounted on the tree here. This is the tree that I'm moving the target to. It used to be here suspended from this rope. So what I did is I put a screw in the tree, and the corner reflector is centered on that screw, and then I'm shooting from the TopCon to that to get the height. This is looking through the TopCon to the corner reflector, and then knowing the height of the TopCon above the surface of the water, adding those two measurements gives me this height above the water on the tree, and then we measure from this point on the tree up to the center of the target to get what the total height is that's of the center of the target above the water.
Nice job. That's the way to do it.
So there I'm making the measurement to the corner reflector, getting the vertical height. So from the TopCon, we're at 15.7 feet to the corner reflector above, or the corner reflector is 15.7 feet above the TopCon. And then I measured, I can't remember right offhand what it was, another 53 inches or something added to that to get to the surface of the water.
I notice you use inches a lot. I'll be using decimal feet.
Okay, yeah. Because my tape measures are all in inches.
Yeah.
That was interesting. That was the first time I ran into decimal feet. It's with you, Jesse. I didn't realize surveying was done like that.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's like one more step and you'll be in metric, you know? Why not? But
Yeah.
we're not. But yeah, decimal feet keeps it simpler than your
Yeah, I use decimal feet for doing all my addition, and then I multiply by 12 to, get converted over. So I'm
How big that target is.
fastening the target to the tree right now. I'm behind the target.
I'm in a little like disbelief or shock. I look at what you're doing out here thinking, this is incredible. I thought I did some major shit, but you're like, holy crap. Hey, you said you were going to show us how you got up there. There you are.
I'm waiting for the back history, how George used to be a lumberjack.
Yeah.
Has all the equipment.
He's probably got
Climb up these trees.
You got telephone pole spikes on your feet there. You climbed up there like a lumberjack.
Not just tennis shoes.
Oh, just tennis shoes. Oh my God.
That's impressive, George.
Yes, it is.
That's
Really
dedication. Well, Jesse was wrestling alligators to take his measurements when he was here, so I guess,
Well, at least there was a sign that claimed that it could happen.
Terman says George has secret anti-gravity over Unity boots.
That's funny.
What's going on there? Huh. But anyway, this is weird. What the heck? That should. Something happened. I gotta redo that.
You know, that Topcon instrument you have is like vintage 80s, I would guess. I used to use equipment
that's
like
correct.
that. And it's in great looking shape. You got a nice deal on that, I'm sure. Did you buy that on eBay or something?
Yeah, I did. It wasn't working when I bought the battery pack was all shot because of the NiCads.
Yeah, you can get those reselled pretty easily. Yeah, you can get your batteries reselled. But otherwise,
well, I ripped all the NiCads out and I put in nickel metal hydrides. I adapted some nickel metal hydrides in.
Oh, you did it yourself, did you?
Yeah, I'm getting about 3 times the operating time with these nickel metal hydrides.
Oh, heck. Now I know where to send all my batteries to get reselled.
I have a video that I'm going to upload of me rebuilding the battery pack.
Nice. You know, you can make a business out of that.
Indeed.
This is the 4-mile target that I was putting up.
Nice. Highly
This
visible.
one was a bit of an effort because I forgot my pipe straps, and so I had to tape the 2x4 with duct tape to the pole and then install it all in one unit rather than just freezing the pipe in and then attaching the 2x4 and adjusting the height with the pipe straps.
How deep's the ice there, George?
Right at this spot, it was 33 inches.
That's incredible. I would know nothing about that. Absolutely nothing.
See, Larry has joined. Larry says he got a 3rd GPS. What'd you get, Larry? He's my buddy down in Maryland. We're going to be meeting up in the spring, I hope. And I like the term he's coined, recreational surveying.
Yeah, I definitely think moving that direction makes sense. You know, doing it for the fun of it, which was, I mean, we're already doing it for the fun of it. To be honest.
Yeah.
You just like trolling flat earthers at the same time.
Well, like I've told you before, I really got curious. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's curved. I think it's curved, but how about if I go look and see if I can see it? So that's why I did some of the testing I've done along the water. I did stuff along the Delaware Bay,
Mm-hmm.
did stuff, up high, up from lighthouses in New York City, and then little small stuff across a little lake. I did 2 lakes. And then now I've got a nice little test network near my house in a park. And the longest distance I think is, I don't think it's 700 feet. Some of them, it's just a quadrilateral, 4 points, 1, 2, 3, and 4, measured all the angles, measured all the distances, and determined the elevations very precisely. And, I can measure curvature right there. It's, look at him pulling this thing up in the air.
This is like a
It's
strongman contest or something.
It's Iwo Jima. Holy crap.
Oh, that is awesome.
George. And Khan's just saying, a little more, a little more. You almost got it, George.
Con supervising.
Khan's a great supervisor.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's like straight out of like a strongman contest right there.
Holy crap.
If only you had one other person pulling the other side.
Yeah. Wow.
This has turned into an epic adventure, George.
Truly. Truly.
Oh!
Whoa,
Catch
whoa.
it. Oh, man. Like, I'll just hold this with my neck. I'm like rooting for him, knowing it's already happened. I'm still rooting.
I know. That's what, yeah.
I have to say, George, I really like the concept of your experiment where you have the tangent line and the curve diverging.
Yeah.
And you can actually see that divergence in the, in the targets.
Mm-hmm.
That to me kind of answers a lot of these objections of, oh, it's just, it's just refraction. It's just.
Well, the whole idea was to get a quantitative set of measurements to compare with the actual geometry, rather than just qualitative visual, is I want to try to see how accurately I can actually measure the contour.
I love it. Love that idea. Very good idea.
Now, what stops that from just flopping right on down?
Well, the hole in the ice is deep enough that it's holding it.
Okay. So
The walls of the ice, or the hole isn't that big, so it's just a little bit bigger than the 4-inch pipe. So, it can lean over in the hole without totally falling over. And then I just use the snowmobile to help me hold it in place there. Well, I packed the snow around it and froze it in place.
Now, I imagine that once it's there long enough, right, that like all the water freezes around it and it just becomes essentially like concrete, huh?
Exactly.
yeah. Except for, like you said,
I'm pouring water in it now and
okay,
in the hole.
Nice.
And now you've thought you needed to go back and add brackets just to keep it from rotating.
Tie wires, because with a good wind, that thing would just snap. The PVC pipe in the cold gets brittle, and plus what was worrying me, of course, is if you see right here, this is just duct tape holding the 2x4 to the sewer pipe. So I went back the next day with my pipe straps and have one pipe strap there and one there. So now the 2x4 isn't going to rip off the pipe, but the whole thing could snap in a good wind. And So you'll see later on where I actually have 3 guy wires. I pounded stakes into the ice and then have it guide to about from here on down, in a triangular pattern.
Yep. All right.
Because otherwise it probably only lasts a day or two out there.
Well, I don't like talking for other people typically, but in this case, I think that I can say that MacGyver would be very proud of your efforts here.
Agreed.
Look, I didn't notice that. Con's
He's looking up at it.
looking up at the target there.
What is this human doing? So, Con, what does your human like to do? Oh, he likes to drill holes in ice and stick targets way up high.
I think epic is the right word, Soundly. I mean, this is just.
Oh yeah,
You know,
mean, the efforts that you've gone through just solo. I mean, just by yourself, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we're just going to walk in and film it all and,
Mm-hmm.
and make some measurements.
Mm-hmm. I thought what we did was tough. This was way harder.
Yeah, this definitely requires an immense amount of time and effort. Soundly, you're right.
Yep.
We just jammed in as much as we could do in a couple days, and
Yep.
and truth be told, we still we haven't analyzed all that data yet. It's there to be done,
Yep.
especially on Little Tensis. I mean, Lake Pontchartrain was simple.
Yeah.
That was easy to triangulate that building and then measure it from the North Shore.
Yeah, well, it's easier to get better angles on it, not as shallow.
Yeah, but the photography, all the video you recorded of the refraction, and again, George has talked about this in the past. That his big interest here is the study of refraction. So
Mm-hmm.
now, talk about the thermistors, George. Do you have them set low and high, or is it just one set per target? How are you measuring the temperature?
I have a pole that I have 5 thermistors mounted on that I just take with me, and then they're 30 centimeters apart.
Okay, that's great. I mean, that's the way. That's how NGS does it. They do it. They mount one on the tripod at about knee height. Then there's one just above the instrument, and then sometimes they'll have one up higher. So they'll have basically 3. And that's when they're doing.
Yeah, I have a cable that allows me. I can add an extension to it, so I can put it up as high as 30 feet above the ice if I wanted to do that. And
Right.
I take a whole profile of the optical corridor starting at the ice level and every 30 centimeters going up to about 25 feet or so.
Awesome.
I'd like to say that Blafatoxin, and that's how I always pronounce his name. I guess it's how you say it. But Blafatoxin is commenting on just how awesome just the scenery looks there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking the same exact thing whenever I looked down and read that. Like, it looks awesome there. Like, just the photography from the artistic side of things. The photography opportunities there just look amazing. Like, I can imagine taking some really awesome photography there.
Well, some of the videos George has shown in the past, catching
the sunset.
The sunset. I haven't seen the sun ball itself going down, but just after sunset, and the colors in the sky are just amazing.
So you can see 4 miles is about the practical limit as far as setting targets out to a tangent.
Yeah,
Right.
that's way up there. Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why that is. Why does that have to be up so high?
Yeah. Ooh, because water heals.
Water.
Let's see here. Should have.
I've never asked him that. Aflatoxin, is that how you pronounce your name? No. B1 aflatoxin.
Utterly pretentious, I know.
This is part of my well, I don't want to do the refraction stuff right now.
Now we'll do that another, like a whole nother.
Oh, save it for your
thing.
channel. Save it for
Yeah.
your channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we're just.
I know what
Doing the
I'm
best.
missing stuff because it's on the other computer. Let's see. You've probably seen this. This is where I was shooting the my laser at the corner reflector at 1.36 miles away.
Yes.
You can see the corner reflector lighting up as I get close, and then when you hit it, it really flashes.
Yeah, it's nice.
I just looked it up. B1 aflatoxin. What's the B1 stand for?
It's a mold toxin.
Mm-hmm. Obviously a bio major or something. That's what's amazing about, I do have to say this, that's what is amazing about Flat Earth, is that you have all these engineer types, engineer and science types that kind of look at it and pull it apart. And yet we're all part of the conspiracy somehow. Sir, I mean, geodesy is a form of what? It's a form of engineering, huh? I mean, what is that?
It is a branch of surveying. I mean, it is related to engineering. You could broadly speaking, surveying is all about measuring existing conditions, existing features, or what exists. Engineering is more about designing something that isn't there yet. So, I mean, the relationship between engineering and surveying would be the surveyor goes out, surveys a large parcel of land, let's say, or
You were talking about, the sizing of the targets in perspective. This is what it looks like through the auto level. This target in the foreground is at 1.36 miles. This one's at 2.72 miles, and this is the one out at Home Island at 6 miles.
right.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, when you walk up to each target,
That's all.
that's like a whole
This
sheet of
target
plywood,
is-
practically.
This target is 63 inches.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And when you're
Very cool concept.
Yeah, I could tell how large it was just by you standing next to it in the tree. Yeah, I love the concept. It's a great concept. I'm wondering if I should do maybe a time lapse with the P900 over the course of a full day.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Now, do you have something to mount that on so that it's stable throughout that whole?
Well, I have extra tripods and stuff for doing
Okay.
that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that wherever the observation location is, I could just sit on a table, worst case scenario, I mean.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I want to measure, George, is the deflection of the ice throughout the day. If I put
That's an interesting thing. Now that you mentioned that, when I was out at Home Island, when I was making that height measurement, you could see over the course of 1 minute the ice varying in height by 3/4 of an inch.
well, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting because if we set a receiver out, just doing nothing related to what we'll be measuring, but we just let it sit all day out there, I can just get differential
Sure,
measurements throughout the
that'd be
day
fun. Yes.
and see just what the fluctuation is throughout the day.
No, that'd be an interesting thing.
And if time permitted, this is one of the tests that I'd love to do on that ice, would be to just find a place, could be near your targets or not, doesn't matter, but find a spot, drill a hole in the ice, and get that position located, latitude and longitude, and then go due north, geodetic north, for 5 arc seconds, and drill another hole there, and then go due east from that point. Basically, make the letter L. Make a letter L. So I have 3 points. Point 1 is the corner of the L. Point 2 is north 5 arc seconds, and point 3 is east 5 arc seconds from point 1. And then take the theodolite and measure reciprocal zenith angles on both of those lines. Now, if we've set them at 5 arc seconds northward, due north and south, and 5 arc seconds east and west, we should be able to measure that in the vertical, basically the tilt of the plumb lines. Now,
Okay.
what you'll find out is that the north and south line will be about 5 arc seconds. Might be a little more, a little less, but it's going to be about 5 seconds. East and west is going to be less. And that, for all the math inclined, everybody that likes to think about these things, you can think about why that is. It's going to be slightly less than 5 seconds. Larry says, put a receiver out there recording at 60 seconds for hours and hours and process every epic kinematic. Yes, that's right. That's exactly what I'm going to do. We think alike, Larry. That's what I was planning to do.
So that's 20 miles right there, George.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome on the drone, because I'm gonna be able to rise up and see the full heel, see where the snow comes in. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, I'll show you real quick where that is with Google Satellite. Here, let me bring that up. Oops.
Oh yeah. Hey, we learned from Little Texas Bayou, right, Jesse?
What are we looking at?
How many receivers you need out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we ran out of distance on Little Texas Bayou because we couldn't quite make it the full 7.
Well, on that one, I was relying on RTK. That's a real-time kinematic, and for whatever reason, I was not getting the distance I thought I would get out of that radio. But that was no problem. We ended up counting those columns.
Yep.
But just collecting static raw data, all those vectors processed quite well.
What we're looking at is where I was. I'll go with the satellite here.
George, I was going to ask you that with the Canadian border being so close right there, is there any, is there any issues as far as us being close to it? So if you actually cross that Canadian border,
just make sure you have your passport. That's all.
So if you actually cross that Canadian border, like, people could actually come and challenge you on that?
Oh yes. Yeah, there's drones flying. Like I say, Homeland Security, Border Patrol is patrolling this area. But we have ways the locals, we get what are called remote border crossing. I have the rights to cross anywhere from Lake of the Woods to Lake Superior over a 250 mile stretch without checking in with immigration.
Wow, that's cool.
But what you do is you go through a criminal background check and to get these remote border crossing passes that the locals can get. But there are kiosks around that we just clear you with. Well, we'll get you cleared with Canadian Customs so that we can cross the border without there being issues.
Awesome.
But the stretch that we're looking at, this is Seine Bay. This is that finger that's out here. We're about 20 miles. And we start right here on the west end of Tilson Bay. So we'll go
Yeah,
from
man. It
there.
would be awesome if we could actually get out to that 20-mile area. I know it's so remote.
You see that it's 20.16 miles to the end of Seine Bay.
I can see that is very remote, but
So if we go,
it sure would be awesome. Yeah, it sure would be awesome if we could actually get out there.
Oh, we can. Yeah, I'll take you out.
I mean, if we get one person out there, and if we could get high enough to where we could actually see,
But it's going to take a little travel time, if I go by myself on the snowmobile, you guys keep calling, I can probably go out there at about 60 miles an hour. So, probably looking at 20 minutes to get out there.
How high up in those hills would you have to get to actually be able to see that from the observation point?
What hills? No?
The hills 20 miles out that you said that you could see there's the tops of them?
I don't know. I mean, they're going to be somewhere in here.
Uh-huh.
So
to actually do it, you'd have to hike and get up high.
Oh, yeah. We'd have to do a contour elevation map to look at where those hills are, but they're going to be somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Now, of course, most of this is in Canadian waters, but if you go along here, right in this area is what's called Brule Narrows. It allows you to go from this section of the lake into this other large section of the lake. You can go 40 miles without any portages up to what we call Kettle Falls here. And this is a real big open part of the lake here also. But this time of year, we'd have to, we'd cross over on land if I was to take you out into this part of the lake, because in Brule Narrows, there's current, and I just read where they say it's open water right now in
gotcha.
this part of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all very remote. So there's no cell towers or anything. You can get GPS readings, but you can't get any cell service up in here. There's no roads. All of this is Voyageurs National Park.
That's actually a very interesting point, George, which I would include in whatever videos that come out in this, is that we're able to get GPS readings without cell signal. I think that's actually a very interesting observation to make, considering the claims that come from Flurfton.
Yeah, GPS is not tower based.
Right.
There are no towers up here for GPS signals.
Right.
You're right, Soundly, and it's like I made a whole video about that, and it's like, let them keep saying it. It just doesn't matter anymore. But you're right. It
really is amazing to me, actually, that some of these flat Earth videos can get 100,000, 200,000 views, and in the meantime, the people that actually have the real information can't get 1,000 views.
We have 18 viewers right now. We had 21 just a little bit ago. We're going a bit long. We're at the 2-hour mark. I think we should probably start to think about wrapping her up. But no, you're right. It's what George is doing up here is the real thing, and FE Core's over there cha-chinging, making money, doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just kind of like mulling around in a tent, acting like they're doing something.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that they did have an unlisted video, which they shared around the internet. So it's not like it's a secret, but they had an unlisted video where they were testing a live stream, which was supposed to occur the next day or the next couple days at a minimum, depending on the weather. They were supposed to have a live stream where they actually did the real experiment, and that never happened. That should be a red flag, you know, for people that are actually curious about the truth. And unfortunately, it's just kind of gone.
Yeah. And then the thing is, their followers will never call them on that. They'll just say, "Oh, it's so good you're trying. At least you're trying," you know. And
who was the one person you guys were talking about at the beginning of this video that I guess is actually calling them out on it?
Oh yeah, he's called Flat Earth Reset.
Flat Earth Reset. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I should.
He's
Yeah,
fun to
He's
fun to listen
hilarious.
to.
He really goes after
Yeah.
Bob and FE Core.
Yeah.
He's a flat earther, actually.
No, he is.
Well, that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
But he just calls it. He's just, it's bullshit. He just like, you know, goes after him.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the guy. I rather enjoy listening to him.
he's fun.
He really calls him on the carpet.
He's fun to listen to. I agree.
But anyway, this is kind of an overview. Here's International Falls, and this is Fort Francis, Ontario. And where you guys will be staying is in here in Rainier, and I live right here.
Okay.
You'll be about 2 miles away.
Well, hopefully I have 2 batteries to play with at that time. I'm going to bring the Mavic Pro, so we'll have 2 drones. But the Mavic Pro obviously doesn't have telephoto on it. However, we'll be able to get some pretty cool stuff with the Mavic Pro as well. Just, you know, general like area and stuff like that type of photography. And also, if you can manage to target each of those corner reflectors with the laser, then I think even the Mavic Pro would be able to pick that up. Because it's going to be a point source, right?
Yeah.
So Mavic Pro should still be able to pick that up. It's in 4K, you know, so that would be pretty cool.
What do you think about the lanterns? Can you ship up some lanterns?
I'm going to get the lanterns there. I'm going to see tomorrow what it would take to get there, like overnight or something like that.
Yeah.
And you know, if it's cheaper to just check them in as a separate bag, then
You
I'll
could
just check them
do
in as a separate bag.
yes, 3-day select.
Yeah, something like
It's
that.
a lot cheaper.
What are you going to bring? Like 4 of them?
Overnight.
4 or 5?
I'll just bring all of them. Why not? You know.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they're pretty small. They're pretty light. George had the idea of just shipping them without the batteries. We could just buy batteries there.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, my observation point, Jesse, is here. This is my property here. This is my house, and this is my dock. And where I have everything set up is right about in here.
Right under those trees. Okay.
Trees. Yeah.
All right.
I think you go out on that dock and get a station set up there, huh, Jesse?
Yeah, if it's not moving, I would want to have something very stable.
Well, this dock is very stable. They're rock cribs that hold this dock.
Okay, that's fine. And what was I going to ask you?
Looks like a very beautiful area, George.
Yeah, it is. If you like wilderness,
I love wilderness.
pretty untouched. It's part of the boundary waters.
So are those homes just vacation homes that there's no one there right now? You're the only guy
Oh
out there?
no, oh no, this is residential.
Okay. No, that's what I was asking you earlier. If your neighbors are watching what you're doing and wonder.
My neighbors here. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but once you get out, you don't
I-
have to go out very far, and then you're with the raccoons.
Yeah. What do they think about your? What have you told them that you're doing if they've asked anyway?
Oh, there was one guy the other day that came up on a snowmobile. I told him I'm putting up antennas to make alien contact.
Uh,
And they look at you funny and go away.
how many tripods do you have?
I have 4.
Excellent. And you have tribracs for every one of them?
What are tribracs?
That's the part that you know how your total station, you know how that thing with the 3 screws for leveling it you can detach it.
Oh, I've never tried detaching mine.
Okay, so you don't have any of those separately. I'll bring more. I'll bring tribracs and yeah. Okay, good.
Hey Jesse, will you give me?
Excuse me a sec, Solon. Well, one thing that has always bothered me about my TopCon theodolite, why is it that you have to flip the damn thing around in the vertical direction in order to get it to read? Is that standard?
What do you mean in order to get it to read? It won't measure distances in
No, I don't get any angle readings unless I flip the optics around. In the vertical. Like if I first power it up, it says 0 set. In order to get it to start reading, I actually have to flip the optics around 360 in the vertical.
No, all you need to do is move the scope a little bit.
Well, I move it a little bit and it doesn't. I have to actually move it quite a bit to get it to start reading.
But you can get readings in both directions, correct?
Well, after it starts reading, yeah.
Okay, good.
But in order to initiate the readings, I have to flip the scope up probably through at least maybe close to 90 degrees.
Yeah, that might be. I don't know if there's a problem with it or if it's just you need to move it that much for it to sense. And then once you've done that, though, it should be okay.
Well, yeah, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But why I find it annoying is because I have a bracket that made
with the laser
attaching my laser to, and the TopCon battery pack is in the handle.
Yes.
And my mounting is underneath the handle, so I can't flip the optics around as much when I have the bracket attached. I can't get it to rotate enough to get it to start making readings.
Yeah, you would have to attach your laser after you wake it up, so to speak.
Yeah, but that's a pain because I would have to undo the mounting screws. What I'm thinking, I've got a way that I think I can detach the battery pack and then have a remote plug and
power it that way. Yeah.
For the battery power, rather than having the handle mounted, is have the pack off on the side with wires that go to the theodolite, and do it that way. Then that way I can flip the optics around.
Okay.
It's just a pain. It has always surprised me that I have to move the optics, the scope rotated as much as I need to have to do in the vertical in order to get it to start displaying.
Yeah. It's an older style instrument, but hey, it's working for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I had it calibrated this about a year ago
Okay.
with Midwestern Lasers down in Minneapolis. They went through and adjusted and calibrated it for me.
Yeah. Have you ever compared your zenith angle measurements in face 1 to face 2? Like how much difference there is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
But we'll take.
I'm going to learn from you. I just know enough to be dangerous with this stuff.
No, we're gonna have a good time. It's awesome. You've really laid the groundwork for some good measuring to be done out there. So, well, what do you say we call it an evening? Thanks for coming on here. This has been a good hangout. At least I've got a list of things I need to bring: corner reflectors, tribrax, and some other stuff. I'll pack as much as I can.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Sonley and Jesse, think about, on this snowmobile going over the horizon, if we need to, I need to come up with some sort of a target design for that, or, to give it a bigger visual.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I think if we could just take your range pole with the corner reflector and either stick it in a hole or mount it somehow, just so it's up,
Yeah.
and stationary. That's it. And then
Yeah.
get a laser return on it incrementally as we.
Well, I would want to do totally with the laser return. I mean, you want to see something going, like
Right.
the hull of a boat or something disappearing, or a car disappearing. I might actually be able to drive my car out there by the time you guys get here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what I was thinking is, if the snowmobile has lights on it, George, does it?
Well, just in the headlights
Okay, so
and a tail light.
maybe we
But
could
during the
maybe
day,
we could mount some.
but you want to be doing this during the day.
Yeah. But even so, I was thinking about some of the observations I've made with the drone, which I imagine is one of the things we'll be using, which has the largest field of view and the less magnification. I'm able to make out cars really well at 6 miles. So, if we have something that's that size, we'll definitely be able to see it.
Like the back end of a car.
Yeah, exactly. Like the back of the car. Definitely be able to see it.
Or make another, or take one of my big targets,
Exactly. Yeah, if you have a big target and you put it on the snowmobile, that would be perfect. The reason I was saying lights is because even during the day, especially in overcast situations, which appears to be the situation you're in a lot of your videos, you can still make out those point sources, and that's one of the things that I've been thinking about Little Tensas Bayou, which could apply here as well, is if you had different colored lights set at different heights, then you can see when like green goes hidden,
Sure.
and then red goes hidden, and then blue goes hidden, something like that. But I think a target, just a poster board target painted orange with some stripes on it would probably be enough, or maybe alternating colors, orange, black, something like that.
Yeah, I have green and orange fluorescent paint, so we could probably just make a target maybe 8 foot high or something. Maybe paint a 2 foot wide bar of orange, followed by 2 foot wide bar of green, and then followed by orange or something like that.
Exactly. That would be perfect. We'll just be able to count how many oranges we see and whether or not it cuts off at orange or green.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, guys, thanks. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming quick. I can't believe it's this weekend.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah.
All right. I guess we're done for tonight. I don't think we'll do another one before. Maybe when we're out there, maybe that Saturday night or something, if we're still awake.
So from your house, George, I imagine you have Wi-Fi at your house?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you'll have Wi-Fi where you'll be staying.
Yeah. So we should be able to stream a little bit from the observation point if we want to.
Yeah, good.
We tried to do that last time, Jesse, but we just couldn't manage to pull it off, huh?
No, the live stream wasn't. Not from Little Tinsis anyway.
Yeah, Little Tinsis was tough. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did the next best thing, and that was just kind of update people periodically through the day.
Yeah.
That worked out.
Oh, we might want to do size, just doing some quick figuring per mile. If I had a 3-foot bar, let's see, and just do this again real quick. That's only 0.03 degrees, so that's 117 arc seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
3 feet at a mile is 117 arc seconds.
yeah, I'll definitely be able to resolve that though.
Yeah, you would. Yeah,
I mean, with my telescope at least, maybe the P900. I'm not sure about the drone.
because that's at about the resolution of the eye. It's 0.03 degrees.
Right.
So I really, it'd be at the edge of the eye being able to differentiate that width.
Yeah, I mean, you'd at least be able to see the whole sign with your eye, but you wouldn't be able to see maybe the bars
Right,
kind
but
of
your
blend together.
camera would.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be able to see that.
But in the meantime, if you can think of something else, I'm not going to make anything until the day or two before, just so we have time to sleep on it and think about it. If you get an inspiration of the type of target, like I said, maybe I could take a piece of cardboard and cut out something that maybe looks like a sailboat, boat going over the horizon.
Yeah. All right,
Put a
guys.
little
Why don't
humor
we say goodnight to everybody? Thanks for tuning in,
All right,
y'all.
Jesse. Very good.
Thanks for
Looking
coming on.
forward to meeting you two fellows.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to meeting
Yep,
you,
definitely,
George.
George.
And it'll be good to see you
It'll
again,
be fun.
Sally, too. All right.
Yep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right. Take care.